Should your next luxury car be a diesel? Well, I'm not so sure, but companies like Audi and BMW certainly are, and that's why we've got these two oil burners right here.
You may be skeptical, but I'm sold, especially when it comes to the Audi A6 TDI and the BMW 535D. Both of these cars represent excellent value due to their fuel-efficient engines and fun-to-drive nature.
But they are expensive, even for mid-sized luxury sedans.
So, which one is better?
And is diesel really refined enough for your next luxury car? Let's find out.
The 2014 BMW 535D is powered by a 6-cylinder, 3-liter turbocharged diesel engine which makes 255 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. Helping this car sprint to 60 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds, our model also features BMW's xDrive all-wheel drive system. But you can get a rear-wheel drive model if you want to save some money. The 535D uses an 8-speed automatic transmission, which helps this all-wheel drive model get 26 miles per gallon in the city, 37 miles per gallon on the highway, and 30 miles per gallon combined. Right now we're seeing 29.5 miles per gallon. Starting at $57,525, rear-wheel drive 535Ds cost just $1,500 more than their gas-powered sibling. This all-wheel drive model adds an extra $2,300 to the price, while our generously outfitted model costs $73,600.
Can you hear that? Of course you can. That's because even the finest German engineering can't make a diesel engine sound any quieter than a tractor. It is, however, an impressive power plant. The 3-liter turbo diesel V6 making 240 horsepower and a serious 428 foot-pounds of torque. Now it gets 24 miles per gallon in the city and a very impressive 38 miles per gallon on the highway for 29 miles per gallon combined. In real-world testing, we're averaging 27 mpgs. What's really impressive is that it'll also do 0 to 60 in just 5.5 seconds. While the A6 starts at $43,100, a TDI model will run you $57,500 to start. However, our test car is well equipped and comes all the way up to $76,500. Now, in case you can't tell, the polar vortex is frost biting my face off. So enough about German engineering, and let's get inside and talk about German luxury.
In case the performance numbers didn't tip you off, the price tag should have. These aren't entry-level models like, say, the Mercedes-Benz E250 BlueTech. And here inside the BMW, it's the usual Beamer business. The standout is this gorgeous mocha brown Nappa leather, which is very comfortable and almost infinitely adjustable. Heck, even the headrests have these little flaps here to cradle your head. However, in comparison to the classy pinstripe details in the Audi A6, I sometimes get the vibe that this Western-themed interior would also look at home in a King Ranch F-150 or something. When it comes to cargo space, there's little to complain about. The 5 Series features a bigger trunk and extra rear headroom than the A6. And those rear seat passengers will appreciate features like the heated seats back there, especially on a freezing day like today.
Inside, this excessively well-equipped Audi A6 is very nice, but one item that really takes the cake in here is the trim on the dash and here on the center console. I mean, it looks like one of Audi CEO Rupert Stadler's finely tailored pinstripe suits. It really sets the interior of this car ahead of the BMW. Apart from that, Audi's MMI system continues to improve, though it's not quite as good as BMW's iDrive. If there's anything I don't like in here, it's that the engine ignition button is way over here, kind of like an afterthought. If it's going to be a sporty car, you really kind of want it up on the dash, somewhere to give you a feeling that you're in control of this machine. Otherwise, in here you'll find features like a drive mode selector to help customize your driving experience, as well as the latest version of Audi's heads-up display, which actually sits a bit higher up in your view than in most other cars I find, and it's actually nice. It's just below your line of sight, so you don't have to look far away at all. There's also a night vision system in here, which is really very useless, and you've got this little control pad here on the center console. Now, there are radio presets, and that's nice, but you can also use it to actually write out letters and spell navigation instructions, which really just seems more like a gimmick to me. And I can't help but mention the Bang & Olufsen sound system. Remember that $76,500 asking price? Well, $5,900 of that is just that audio system.
Now for those keeping score at home, you'll notice that the BMW has 15 more horsepower than the Audi A6, but 15 less pounds-feet of torque. Talk about a stalemate. But it doesn't really make that big of a difference in the real world. Now manufacturer-provided data says that the A6 is faster to 60 than the BMW. But really, 0.2 of a second difference isn't going to be noticeable on the street. Now the engine in this BMW is far more refined than the one in the Audi. And there's virtually no turbo lag, there's tons of torque available down low. You're really going to enjoy this no matter what. And if it was my money, I'd really pick this over the 4 or 6 cylinder versions of the 5 Series. I mean really, the value is all there. You're just paying $1,500 more for the diesel engine, and you get significantly better fuel economy. But we have to address the V8 that's also available in the 5 Series. If you can afford that, I'd go for it, because it also means you can pay up for the fuel. Now, even though this has a diesel engine and weighs way more than 4,000 pounds, it still feels like an executive sports sedan. You just flip this dynamic driving controller into Sport or Sport Plus, and the car feels very responsive. And I absolutely love the direct feel of this heavy steering. It's awesome.
The good news is that when driving this car, you don't hear the diesel. Although the bad news is you do feel it. It kind of rumbles through the chassis like a train past a cheap motel. It's most noticeable on the downshifts, especially from speed. When you slow down, every single time the transmission gears down, it just sends this shudder right through the entire car. At least with all that shaking and rattling, there is plenty to get you rolling as well. With all of that torque, it has great pull off the line. Still, it's not quite as satisfying to drive as the gasoline supercharged V6, which, by the way, costs $2,400 less to buy and is actually faster to 60 miles an hour, doing it in just 5.3 seconds. The A6 still feels like a large car. In fact, it feels bigger than the midsize and more like a full-size sedan. Now, the nice thing is they've actually added a lot of stuff to make it sporty. It's got that sport suspension on it, it's got large 20-inch wheels and low-profile tires, so as a result, it doesn't have a lot of body lean in the corners. But at the same time, it still just feels really big, and you do get the downside of that sport suspension. When you go over some bigger bumps, you really feel those big thuds through the car. Otherwise, I do take issue with the car's variable steering system. Much like pretty much every other Audi on the road, it is a bit unnatural feeling, especially at low speeds. I find that when you're going around a corner, you're driving in suburbia or in the city, the car seems to almost increase the rotation when you haven't added any more steering into it. And it's just sort of a bizarre feeling, and one that I've never really liked about Audi's steering system.
So Colm, are you a diesel convert yet? You know, Team Audi has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans numerous times with a diesel engine under the hood of their race car. If it's good enough for Alan McNish and Tom Christensen, surely it's good enough for you.
I don't need to be convinced of the power. For me, it's more an issue of refinement. And in particular, the Audi just doesn't live up to my levels of expectation. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying for 70,000 bucks, it better be more than good. And for that price, do I really care about fuel economy anyway?
I think we both agree that the BMW is the winner here.
Yeah, but for my money, I would take the turbocharged gasoline inline-6.
Forget your gasoline engines. If you're looking for fuel efficiency and power in your luxury sedan, you can't go wrong with the 535D.